opening statement from coach and then we move to questions.
Okay, it didn't end too pretty, but a win's a win, so I'm happy. Not happy with us not playing for 40 minutes, but happy with the win.
I was looking up, and their pace of play is like almost 300 in the country. How is that to play against? I mean,
Very hard. It's very hard to play against a team that doesn't shoot till like the last 5 seconds. But that's discipline and focus. We knew that coming into the game. We knew they run Chin and Princeton, and we knew we were going to guard a 1-4 set, back cuts. So you have to stay disciplined. And there was a lot of times we gave up wide open layups. And I think, it's hard because our tempo is fast, and their tempo really slowed us down. But I think they're coached well. I think they did some good things. The disappointing thing for me is to give up 9 points in the last minute, and those are things that you can't allow that. And I talked to our team. I didn't want to be negative because I think a win's a win, and these are hard wins to come by. But I think the difference in a number 19 in the country and number 5 or number 10 is those little things. And it's the little things that make a difference for us. The little things are boxing out, free throws, executing free throws, playing to the end of the game. I'm not allowing those 9 points at the end, not turning it over at the very. I shouldn't have to call a timeout to advance the ball. So those are the differences, and they agreed, and they felt the same way. So you just got to forget about it and move on to the next one. But we did get a win.
And what changed in that second half for you guys on offense?
Well, that's what I asked. My question to the team was, okay, and I asked this just a second ago. I said, we started off the game. It wasn't bad. I think we just weren't running great offense. We weren't sharing the ball, and we are extremely efficient when we when we get paint touches and ball reversals. We're great. We are not good with one pass shot, dribble, 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 dribble. Look, pick up your dribble, shot, pass. That is not us. So I said, what's the difference? You're halfway through the game, you're more tired. So why do we come out of the gates in the second half just with so much energy and ball pressure? And they didn't know. And so I said, well, those are the things that they're the differences of being good and great. And you have to have that same intensity. It shouldn't wait till third quarter. We shouldn't score 19 points in a half. We're too good for that. So they recognize that, and they're trying to find a way to kind of get more focused through the first 20 minutes. And that's been a problem kind of the whole year.
That run Kate had where she scored like 7 points, and that put you guys ahead for good.
Yeah.
How important was?
Very important. So, and I talked about that after the game too. Jade and Kate were cold. Jade was like 1 for 5 in the first half. Kate wasn't finishing well. At 6 for 13 isn't a great. They're not great numbers, but the fact that she ended with really big buckets down the stretch and strong moves and finished when we needed it, that matters. And that's why I chose to give her player of the game, because a lot of players would be frustrated, like hang their heads the whole game, but she stuck with it, got hot, and like really put us on her back for those few minutes, and that was important. And I think Maddie came in, did really good. I mean, she was one of the reasons why we were at 70% for free throws. She was 6 for 6, so she gave us really good minutes off the bench. Despite a couple of defensive mistakes, because everybody was making them, I thought she did a really good job. And she's someone that I know when the opponents are fouling, I know she can be in the game, she's going to make free throws. And that's a really important, and that's a little thing that matters. And, we do struggle with free throws, 14 for 20, which actually is good for us. So I'm like 14 for 20, I'm celebrating. Usually we're like a 74% free throw shooting team. And that's been a struggle for us this year. And I promise, in practice, we work at it. But I told them today, I said, this is where you have to have some accountability. You get in the gym and you shoot extra. You may have to take up 500 a day, 100 a day, but these are the difference of good and great. Everybody's supposed to get 1% better every day. So that's one of the things that we're talking about.
And Maddie's getting those free throws because she's driving more. How are you seeing that develop?
Well, Maddie used to argue with us about making her work on layups, and I laugh now because she's like, I don't go to the rim, but now when you're a shooter, they close out to you, you're going to get layups. So she's going stronger, and it's working. So we always talk about, now you don't complain about it. But I think that overall, like fundamentally, our team has to get a little bit better. And we work a lot on fundamentals, but like travels and stuff, like those aren't things I like to see. Jumping in the air, making passes, those are turnovers. I think we had 5 turnovers in the first half just off of travels and jumping in the air. So those are fundamentals that, like I tell the players, like don't complain when we're doing like jump stops. because we're not able to do that consistently in the game. So we're going to do that stuff. And I think at this point, to be a better team, you have to be able to execute free throws. You have to be able to box out. We can't always hack around the rim. Like those are things where you can control those things. And I think just a little bit more discipline from our team. But I'm still happy with the win.
Shayna, she had only 1 turnover tonight with 5 assists.
Very good.
How important was that in a kind of a defensive struggle?
Well, as a team, we always talk about our assist to turnover ratio, very important for me. So a couple things that are important for me as a coach. I look at our assists in regards to our made field goals. 14 assists to 22, that's good. That means we're sharing the ball. And to me, we didn't share the ball great in the first half. And then as a point guard, to have 5 assists and 1 turnover is very good. I think if you looked like a month ago, Shayna would drive, and she'd drive for herself. I think now she's driving for her teammates, and I think that's what a good point guards do. So I thought she's gotten a lot better at that and not dribbling so much. And so Shayna had a good game, I thought. I hope you guys noticed the difference also in Shayna. She's shooting it better, and she's providing a lot more ball pressure. And I would say last game and this game has been her best ball pressure so far this year. The other person that really stands out to me that I know all the fans are crushing me for this, and I don't really care, but Lauren Fields, people are talking about productivity and stuff like that. She played a really good game. She had 25 minutes. She only took 3 shots, but she was phenomenal defensively. 3 steals, a turnover, 1 turnover, 1 assist. But she gave on-the-ball pressure. She's always guarding the best guard. She's working her butt off when most players don't want to do the dirty work. She's tough, and she's doing that and taking 3 shots. I want to get her more shots. I'm trying to run more things to get her more shots, but it is very selfless to do that, and it's very difficult. Most players don't want to do that. Most players, if they're not shooting, they're not getting offense, they're not going to play defense. And she shuts her mouth. She doesn't complain, and she does what the team needs, and she's very valuable.
Kate Reese obviously had a great night on offense.
Yeah.
But I think she had 2 blocks, 2 steals.
I would say a great night on offense. 6 for 13 isn't great. Okay. I think a great second half. Yeah, which matters for sure.
And, just on defensively, how good of a defender has she become?
She's not a good defender. No. Kate is a really good player that I think has gotten a lot better defensively, but struggles on defense. I think that position-wise, she's gotten better. I think she's gotten stronger, but I think that's an area she has to get better in. And there's a lot of players on our team that have to get better defensively. And for us to get better, I think Jade has improved defensively. I think Shayna has the ability to be a tremendous defender, but you have to have the desire and the want, and I think she picks and chooses. But I think the last 2 games, I think she's really taking a big step forward, and she's pressuring the ball more, but she is one of the best athletes in the country. Lauren is a fighter on defense. She's one of our toughest kids. Mary's extremely tough on defense, but does not play discipline. She continues to be in foul trouble and going for fouls when we know the referees were calling tic-tac fouls. So if they're calling ticky-tack fouls, you can't go for reaches. And did I agree with all the fouls? No, I never do. That's why I'm glad I'm not a ref. But you have to know the feel of the game and have a compass on that. And as Mary, goes for a lot of those dumb fouls. And so there was one point in the game, there was 1 minute left in the third quarter. I was going to leave her in. She had 3 fouls. And they were all like, no. I mean, they were about to grab me. The coaches, they were like, take her out. She's going to foul. So it was kind of funny, but she's got to be more disciplined to be better at the next level. And I think Kate has to be a little bit stronger and has to be a little bit better defensively. Because I think there's a lot of players on the team. We are a very scoring, it didn't look like it today, but we are a score-first team that does not really want to play defense. And it's crazy because in the past, we never could shoot. And I was always like, we need to be able to score. We can't score to manufacture all these points, but we could defend. And this year, I'm like, we can't defend, but we can score. We didn't look like it today, but defensively, it's just we are very concerned with scoring. We are not concerned with defending. And it showed down the stretch at the last minute. We don't take, I think in the past, our teams have had pride that we had a number. For instance, today our goal was to keep it to 45. That's very realistic, I thought, for us at home. They would have been at 45, but we gave them 9 points, so they ended up at 54. But our teams in the past, it was not going to happen. They were going to tell each other, you need to get on there, you need to box out. We don't have that mentality. We're trying to leak out and go score. So it's a little different, but it's kind of fun having a challenge of that as a coach. But if we have to get better defensively to win more games.
You talked about Shayna improving these last few games.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in her 6th year. How hard is that to
Fifth year.
change? Well, I mean, yeah, she's been in college for 6 years.
Yeah.
So. With her
We always
redshirt?
debate about that. I guess it is actually technically sick. We debate about that.
Yeah, because redshirt year.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But how hard is that after being in college that long to change at the end?
Well, I think in general with all these players, I mean, we get them at 17, 18. It's hard to change habits that they've done for 10 years. So, like, whether it's like the mentality, work ethic, the shot, like we're not changing that in our 20 hours a week in the off season, and 20 hours a week during the season, 8 in the off season or 4 in the off season. I think that's hard to change. I think they have to want to get better at certain things, but habits are habits. I think that you can't teach someone to have like a killer mentality, like Ari has that. And so I think that some players have that, some players don't. So some players are like super competitors. Some players aren't. And I think when I look back at some of my teammates over the years, Lauren Jackson, I mean, they wanted to kill you. Like they were trying to, in the practice, they would kill us. Like she would hack the crap out of you in practice. And that was her mentality. And she didn't care. And I think a lot of like kids in this generation don't have that. They don't have that like pride. And me as a player, like before I let someone score 30 on me, I would have fouled out. And like I would have, it's just a different mentality. And I think that, you can't teach that. So I think people have it or you don't. And I think that's what made players like Ari so special. It made her an All-American, a 3rd-round pick, because she was a dog. And she was someone who, she could score her 35th point. She was picking up, 90 feet. And she was slapping the floor. And I think there's not a lot of players that have that in the country. And that's why, for me, it was so fun for USA basketball, because it was awesome, like, being there with all these elite, like Aaliyah Boston and all these great players. It was awesome. They all, like, wanted to learn so bad, and they were so hungry, but they were the best of the best. I remember thinking, like, gosh, if I had her, I'd her. It was great to be around that, because those are the best of the best, and they have that mentality. They're all trying to go play pro, trying to make the Olympic team, and there's a different mentality. And so that was fun to see, because you see it in the pros, you don't see it in college. And I gave an example to our players yesterday. Walking out on the court, like if you're shooting 60%, you're sitting on the sideline, that's a problem. Like in the pros, you can't do that. You get cut. And so you can't say, I'm going to go play pro, and like you sit on the side and talk every day before practice. I mean, there's a couple people that don't do that, but there's not a whole team. And I think every team is like that. So that's the difference of good and great players.
Anything else? Awesome.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.